Well, good evening, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure to be here today, and I'm really looking forward to hear what I have to say. Because I went to drama school, and I've always used to having scripts, and I learn the script, and I go on stage and I perform. And that's what I did for International Women's Day, funnily enough. I scripted everything and I could speak, and this time I'm just purely improvising. So, and it's a great place to improvise in because it's a very friendly atmosphere. And 6 months ago I was sitting in the audience and meeting like-minded, wonderful people, as I have been today, and listening to really inspiring speakers. And there was, of course, this one man that just truly spoke to me, to my entire being, and it resonated with everything of where I was at that time. Now, I can sure you can relate to being at that kind of crossroads in your life, and you are sort of looking in different directions of where to go. And that was really where I was at in March. I had grown a business to a certain level, and it was about reaching that new level. We had a speaker earlier talk about Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, and that was one I read. And one thing that Robert Kiyosaki talks about is the cash flow quadrant, which is the employee, the self-employed small business, and then the big business and the investors on the other side. And sort of for me, it's making that leap from small business into large corporation or big business, 10 million plus a year. And what I needed was what came recommended by Robert Kiyosaki, is to have that mentor, to have that guide, that coach, that business success coach that can remove the roadblocks. And this is what was really I needed, because you can always get to a certain level, and I've gone through a certain level of personal development, reading books, attending talks, but you can only get so far. What I was looking for was that kind of mirror that can point out my blind spots. Like when you're driving a car, the windscreen is large, but you need the rear view mirrors to see what is behind you. That is something that a great coach can do. So I have come in the space of 6 months on an extraordinary journey, something I didn't really expect, which of course started here, and now I'm back here on stage to share it with you. It's something I didn't really think about having a coach. You know, when I was younger, I played a lot of tennis. I had a tennis coach to help me get to county standard, national standard. I didn't really think about it. And when you talk to people about having a life coach, they think, well, you know, have you gone mad? And I was like, well, that's the kind of image that comes up. I had no idea what I was in for. I am challenged to the core. My beliefs are challenged because I have come through this system that we all have, where we are born, and from cradle to grave we are programmed to live in a world that is designed for us, that we are told the way it's going to be, told how to think, how to act, what to do, go to school, get good grades, find a safe, secure job with benefits, buy a house, get a cat, I have a cat, and get married, have children, and everything is sort of planned out for you, and you feel pressurized into this life. And but the work that I am doing on myself, which my wonderful coach is leading me to, is looking within and seeing what is in my heart center, to be that kind of heart-centered leader. And he holds up a mirror and reflects it back at me, shining the light in the areas of darkness, in the areas I've hidden away. I am looking at things that I would never have thought about. People do this. They lock things away in a room in the back of the house, in the attic, that they never go and visit. These are buried deep in our subconscious, these ingrained beliefs, and it's about working out what they really mean to me. Am I living a life in other people's expectation? Or am I living truly congruent to my highest value? That is what the journey that I am on, and it is amazing, and quite a lot of revelations do happen. And one thing that we all do is we look outwardly for answers when really the answers are all within us. So my coach does this to me. He says that's what you do when you're pointing, when you point the finger outward. You're one finger pointing outwards to the person that you are attacking or the situation, the other to God, the Great Spirit, the universe, whatever it may be for you. But the important thing is those three fingers pointing back. What are you doing? What could you do that is different? And we've all come across people who outwardly blame others, but really they're the problem, and they are in denial. They think denial is a river in Egypt, and this was what I was led to see, and it is absolutely a phenomenal journey. And people who are in this kind of situation, and everybody here is here to learn, to grow, to be the best they can be, and go in search of their real dreams. To do that, it takes that mentor, that guide, that teacher. We all have these kind of people that come into our lives and share great experiences with us. Having a coach is phenomenal, and I was very fortunate to have to take my coach on holiday with me and my family. Now, you know, sort of friends think, what is going on here? You know, can't you rest? You have to keep working all the time. But what I had was a human behaviour specialist looking at how I act in my life, in my business, every area, interact with friends. That way, he can get to see exactly what I'm all about and point out the blind spots where I'm going wrong. And I'm very fortunate to be in that situation where I can actually do that. So I suppose you're all wondering now, who is this phenomenal being? Who is Joel's business success coach and life coach? Well, I tell you, he's absolutely incredible. Every day that I'm with him, I'm inspired. I'm blown away by the sheer wisdom of the man. It is truly phenomenal. And not only is he a life and business success coach to many billionaires, millionaires, CEOs of companies like Microsoft, and MPs and celebrities, he's also a world-renowned healer. He's recommended highly by Dr. John D. Martini, who was on the Secret fame. And he's an international best-selling author of my favourite book that I've ever read. And I've read a lot of books, and every time I read a new book, I think, oh, that's amazing. I've got to adopt that. But this one just encompassed everything for me and really resonated with me. Every paragraph, every word is written with such love and care for the reader, and that's really what this wonderful person is all about. And I just have such admiration for him, and it's a real pleasure and an honour to introduce to you my life coach, Mr. Tony J Selimi.
Thank you. I would like us all to take a moment and really to think every single word each one of you have shared tonight. What do they truly say? How do they truly impact the global consciousness? And you spoke earlier on about feelings and the soul and everything else. Rich over there spoke about being. And yes, we are beings. But why is it that each one of us is created with so many masks that by the time we become adults, professionals, we don't know who we are? Why is it that we have crises like in Syria? Why is it that we are standing here together and we all believe in the most powerful energy we all have? the energy that radiates from our hearts, the energy that creates that feeling that you spoke earlier on, the energy that creates that being that Richard spoke earlier on, that you spoke as well, that every speaker in here, and most likely each one of you knows that. What is it that creates such adversities on our planet that it can uproot people from their homes, from their loved ones, and yet we treat them like cattle, and we call ourselves humans? It's astonishing to observe the news. But how do we raise our vibration to be able to make a change where deep down we feel like we cannot truly support these people? It goes beyond what we are being taught. It goes in that source energy level in our soul that we can truly radiate and increase our own vibration to be able to be that light, to be able to be that mirror to each one of us, to be able to serve our clients in the most effective way for them to raise their own vibration. Now, the stories about Syria is not just one we hear. It's one you also see. How many of you in here are immigrants? Refugees, asylum seekers from other countries? Okay. Well, 25 years ago, I ended up in the streets of London. So what I'm seeing with Syria crisis, I'm seeing myself. It's a repeat of the history. And I wonder, have we learned anything from the many crises, global crises that we have? What is it to be human? What is it that connects us all? Why is it that those things are happening? What we see in the papers and what we see, the movement, the migration of people throughout our planet, it's not the problem. Migrants are not a problem. Migrants are just human beings. It is what takes those migrants out their own environments that is the real problem. That is the real problem, that we all can make a difference. The first thing I did, personally, I wrote to my local MP, and I wrote to the Prime Minister. And I signed many petitions regarding the crisis. And each one of us, we can do many things to change that. But that migration, that, I would say, adversity that happens in these people, it happens in each one of us, in many different forms. Our thoughts migrate from one place to another. We start with a positive thought, we end up with something really self-destructing thought. Our emotions are exactly the same as those migrants. So what we see in our reality is really what is going on inside of us. That we do not really take the time to go within the self and truly observe what is it within the self. What is it outside the body? What is that soul that's sitting inside of you that every morning is with you? Yet, we are not connected to that. The one thing I observe wherever I speak and whoever I help and I assist is we all play the same instrument. But we are not aware that we are playing the same instrument. Any people who play instruments in here? 2, 3? Anyone else? 4? Anyone else? How about 5? How about if I tell you right now that you are all wrong and you all play the same instrument? But now I would like a feedback from you to guess which instrument is that you all play.
The mind.
What else?
Voice.
Voice! Give Ben a bit of good uploading there. It is our instrument, it is our voice. Each one of you have a voice. Every human being on our planet has a voice. Every thought in our mind has a voice. It is through that voice we have the power to connect, we have the power to share, we have the power to change, we have the power to simply radiate love and bring and realign ourselves to the most powerful energy that heals your body, your mind, your soul. So if anybody from today asks you if you play an instrument, show off your beautiful voice. Bring your being out with that instrument. Share your stories, share your passion, share your being, share your love, whatever that may be. Whether it's sales, whether it's a business coach over there, whether it's an entrepreneur in IT, whether it's a lawyer, singer, camera crew, all of you in here. Each one of you had that beautiful instrument. But the problem is, most of you have not been taught to play it so beautifully, like when you observe the most best pianist on the planet. When you observe that music and the hands going like, oh my God, synchronous, and you say, how do they do it? It is about training your voice. It is about training your inner being to realign yourself in that unique path that each one of you has. In a path that truly can bring you the wealth, the relationship, the money, You can have the business that you want, the career you want, the home that you want, the friends, the platform in here. All of that, it's your creation. All of that, it's part of that collective consciousness, part of that collective mind that you are plugged in. But also, there is the drawback to that connectedness that we all have. Because each one of your problems is connected to that consciousness as well. In the next story of my life, I've written a unique book which will be published in October. And a lot of people, and I have press and movie companies approaching me for that, it's about what inspired me to talk about loneliness. And I called it the virus of modern age. A lot of people that I meet daily, coach, friends, speak with, 50% would not associate themselves with that loneliness. But as they ask me questions, or I ask them questions, I start first of all with the loneliness that we have within the self. And then how lonely we are in our corporate environments. Do we truly share our voice? Do we truly use our powerful voice to play an instrument that together with our work people around us, we create a symphony? And most places where I go and speak or see, or CEOs that I coach, there is no symphony. There's instrument playing in different areas of the business without being playfully together with an orchestra person. What do you call him? Conductor, thank you. Conducting everybody in the business being able to play their vocal instrument. Now, I believe every human being on this planet, with the right coaching, with the right mentoring, with the right nurturing, and with an open heart, we can transform their lives. I believe we can transform businesses. I believe we can transform countries, society. But it's all going back to that heart center and richly being driven through our hearts, not through our minds. Because our minds is another instrument that keeps changing. It changes the rhythm, it changes the thought patterns, it changes everything. But love is something you will constantly have as a constant, something that does not change. And with that, I would like you to leave you with a very powerful message, which I've written through the entire book, A Path to Wisdom, which is truly, when you take the time in your life to acknowledge who you are, to acknowledge your truth, your true being, you start opening up your heart to love. When we open our heart to love, we can achieve any results that your heart desires, to create the miracles that your soul knows it can do.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask you, and also Joel, to share with the audience how they can connect with both of you.
Absolutely. I'm pretty much open, so you can connect me on Facebook for people who are here, LinkedIn, Twitter, my account pathtowisdom.com, which is my book. And
You've got copies of your book
I've
here
got
tonight
copies
as
of
well,
book for people
if
who
anyone
wants to
wants
buy
them. Yeah.
and I usually channel a direct message for the person and I sign it.
Oh.
So I've taken the mission, every time I sign a book, I tune into the person and I give them a unique message.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what about Joel?
Joel, it's sort of, he's the same.
Contact me through you.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
Joel runs the business Vandercom, so vandercom.co.uk, but also you can find him on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram as well. So you guys can connect, and I love the power of connection and the power of being here, because it was because of this inspired stage and really you guys in here that our path crossed, and I'm extremely grateful for that.
Thank you very much.
It's, I believe, in each one of you that have that mission within the self. So I believe in each one of you from tonight to have been inspired by so many wonderful speakers and people you meet around you, and connect, share, and just love.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.